Okay. Wow. Just when I thought it couldn't get any better, this year is no exception to the previous 10 years that I've been privileged to be involved with the Wine Expert team and their selection of varietals for the limited edition series. Nerello from Sicily, of all things, who knew? So exciting, so fresh and innovative, but so steeped in tradition. I couldn't be more excited to share this wine with you, and I really hope that you're excited to share this wine with your clients and customers. This, for me, you know, I work in an establishment, and we sell a lot of wine, and we're the largest import wine buyer in the province of British Columbia. And I have to tell you that just recently I brought in a shipment of Nerello, and it vaporized in minutes. Such excitement for this grape variety, and the fact that the limited edition gang have made this available for you as part of the release in 2020 is so exciting. The grape variety, the region of origin, Etna, you can't go wrong. So, you know, we're talking about Sicily. And for the longest time, Sicily duked it out with Puglia to be the biggest bulk wine producer in all of Italy. And you know what, they got eclipsed by places like Veneto, of all places, and the Marche and Tuscany and things like that. And Sicily dialed it back. And what they said is, you know what, there's all kinds of really massive, brooding, rich wines that are coming from this neck of the woods. I'm thinking about the Neradavilas and the Primitivas and Aglanicos, which are fantastic, beautiful, rich, deep red wines. But southern Italy has got so much more to offer. But the key here is grape variety and region of origin. And I think that the Wine Expert team has hit both marks 100% on this one. And number one is Sicily. As they moved away from this kind of quantity mindset, nowhere else in Italy will you see a region narrowing down its offerings and focusing more on quality over quantity than you will in Sicily. I think that they have some very exciting indigenous grapes. Nerello is no exception. This is a grape that is indigenous to the Etna area. And the great thing about Etna is that it's an active volcano, and it's still going, and it's changing the soil compositions daily. The reality is that these volcanic soils are very fine-grained. They often contain tremendous amounts of minerals that are expelled from the center of the planet and have unique characteristic. Because they're fine-grained, they don't hold water. So what happens is the vines, you know, even though they might train the vines about 1 meter above the ground on the trellis, or maybe 1.5 meters, those vines will travel up to 12 meters into the ground seeking water and nutrients. And the reality is that they take on a sense of place and a gritty kind of a texture that makes the wines exciting on the palate and unique. That gives them flavor of depth, it gives them intensity, and this kind of solidity that is entrancing for red wine drinkers. But at the same time, Nerello isn't like this kind of cloying powerhouse, 15% alcohol like you would expect from the rest of southern Italy because of the elevation in Etna. And we're talking about vineyards that are moving up to 400 meters plus up the mountain. You're getting the benefit of elevation. And as I said earlier, every 100 meters you go up, you drop about 1/10 of a degree in temperature. So those higher elevations allow these grapes to ripen to full phenolic ripeness, but still maintain a little bit of acidity and a little bit of balance. Sicily, you're going to see a whole bunch of very exciting wines coming from this neck of the woods. I think that you're going to be able to appreciate the diversity that southern Italy is capable of, and I couldn't think of a better way to introduce your clients into what southern Italy is capable of, but this Nerello grape. You know, when I talk about the grape itself, it is related to Sangiovese, so it has that firm tannin and bracing acidity. its best incarnation is dry, and it's very much a red wine, so hints of berries and fruit, but it also has this floral element of dried rose. Traditional to Italian wines, there's a rustic, earthy kind of leatheriness that makes it extremely interesting and delicious all on its own, but also makes it amazing pair for food. And the cool thing about Nerello is, you know, even though when you look at it, it's kind of a medium base wine and you think it might be a little bit thin or not have a lot of length, the finish of Nerello is always fantastic, and it's haunting. It can last 45, a minute and a half, like seconds on the palate, and just give tremendous drinking pleasure. I'm super excited that this is part of the Wine Expert Limited Edition 2020 offering. As I said earlier when I did the intro, the Wine Expert team always manages to find a great varietal that is exciting for me. And they always manage to source it from a region that is emerging and important. And I think this Nerello from Sicily is no exception. And as far as being driven by food, you know, for me, I think of dry aged cheeses or things like sausage, like this. You know, so I look at the wine. It still seems fairly rich and dark, but in the nose, gentle berry fruit and spice, floral, that dried rose thing coming through, and a hint of that Italian rusticity, the leather and the spice. Flat out delicious. I'll make an admission. While we were in the green room and we were going through the wines, I was very upset that they hadn't opened the Nerello yet, so I couldn't drain the bottle prior to this tasting. But now that I get an opportunity to try it now, it was absolutely worth waiting for. With the sausage, a lot of flavor going on here. Fat, spice. Quite delicious. Let's see how the wine stands up. Wow. That acid cuts through the fat. Those fine and firm tannins rounding out that protein, and the flavor of the berries and the spice and the leather and the earth coming through at the end. This for me is an entrancing wine. If I had clients that were interested in food wine pairs, I would not let them leave my store without getting some of this. With tomato-based dishes, with lighter roast or barbecue items, I think this would be absolutely fantastic. Quite frankly, all on its own. Nerello gives complex and interesting wine at that kind of medium plus weight, which makes for really great drinking all on its own. So when I think of Nerello, I close my eyes, I can see myself, you know, sitting down on a patio, and I want to have a little bit of nibbles and maybe some charcuterie and cheese. And what would I think would be amazing with this? I think that it would be this Nerello wine. Exposing your clients to this grape, you're doing them a great service. This is a very exciting wine. And exposing them to the capability and the potential of Sicily, I think, is an honorable task. So for me, the Nerello is absolutely fantastic. And I said that the double noir glass would be empty at the end of the tasting. I think, unfortunately, I'm going to have to empty 2 glasses because these are so good.